guys, everyone here should be... no, actually, not everyone here should be aware because it's a Pixar podcast. On the Snub Club, I could say this. But it is the July Criterion sale. Everything's 50% off at Criterion. And at Barnes & Noble for Criterion things. And let me tell you, I bought some Blu-rays, and I haven't told Mark. I told Mark one of them. So I'm going to show Mark the other ones I got. So the 4 Criterions I got.
Oh, it's a picture of them, so I have to, kind of zoom in and figure this out.
They're pretty.
How do I zoom in? Ah, man. Okay, well, I see you bought The Kid, The Silence of the Lambs, the Jackie Chan, I assume that's the Police Story collection?
That's the Police Story collection, yeah.
And then one, I have no idea what that is because there's a giant lens flare.
I noticed that, too. It's Love and Basketball. Have you ever seen Love and Basketball? It's great.
I have not. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I saw it. AMC started showing some black-directed classics on Juneteenth weekend. And usually it's this past year's Juice and the Black Messiah, which isn't a classic yet, but it's I already saw that. But they showed Love and Basketball, which I hadn't seen, and I went to go see it. It's great. It's a wonderful rom-com. It's very sweet. And so when that got a Criterion, I wanted to pick that up for a while. I really like The Kid. And Silence of the Lambs on Blu-ray is so hard to find. I was in shock I was at this Barnes & Noble.
How do you mean it's hard to find? Isn't there doesn't Criterion just have that?
No, Criterion, okay. I think they must have just reprinted it because I literally have never seen it at a Barnes & Noble before this time. Because I always look, and then it's always sold out online because it's obviously a popular title Criterion has. And as far as I'm aware, they haven't reprinted since 2018. So they need to do a reprint if they want it to actually sell. And this was the only one that was left there. So I was like, oh, definitely picking this one up. And then Police Story is my blind buy. I always blind buy something at a Criterion sale.
I was actually a little surprised they had Police Story because usually I think, I'll recognize if they have a director collection or Godzilla. But I think Police Story, that's an older compilation, isn't it?
It's just a duology. It's just 1 and 2. It's not the ones after that. Only 1 and 2 are restored recently. But also that means it's $25 instead of $20, which is fine. Last time I bought the Before trilogy, so who cares?
25 is nothing for
for 1 and 2.
It's such a good deal. Yeah.
For the Before trilogy, it was 50 because it's 100 normally. But that also is worth it in my opinion because it's such a good collection.
Yeah.
But what I also wanted to say is when I was at the Barnes & Noble, I went shopping for my younger brother for his birthday, and I got him something on vinyl. But I have to, please have the text channel open. I want your live reactions. I was shocked to see they had this particular vinyl album there. Are you ready for it?
I am ready for it. Vinyl? You mean the Martin Scorsese thing?
The HBO show that was canceled after 1 season. They have the soundtrack at Barnes & Noble's, Bill. Do you have any idea how long they've probably been trying to sell that?
No, but I assumed that show was a lot of rock stuff and not a lot of original things, so it actually might sell pretty well.
I just saw that it was there. I also had Tick Tick Boom. I just thought it was funny that how vinyl. Before we move on to our games, you haven't told me anything about your life.
Well, in real life right now, my show is about to open, so when this comes out, it'll be over and done with, and it was a giant success. Other things going on in my life, because I'm just now getting over COVID, and I didn't really do much when I had COVID, but on the last day of me, really feeling the COVID, I was like, man, I haven't really, done anything as a sick person, so I booted up the old... I don't know who's going to find this interesting, but I thought it was interesting. So I play Magic the Gathering online, and I hadn't played in a while because I've been doing stuff, so I was at the bottom of the, tier list if you play competitively. So it was interesting to, you play at a certain level, and I'm not, the world's greatest player, but you play at a certain level for a while and then you take a break and then you come back and they've demoted you. So then you're playing people and it's such a different game. it's like normally you can really read what your opponent is going to do, and then if you're like at a lower level, it's not even like people make misplays, but it really is like you online there isn't money, so you're using like a reward point system, but like if you're at a low rank, you do not have the points to like get good cards. So it's really interesting. Like, the games are mad slow and frustrating and unpredictable, but it is interesting to see people who are lower ranked, like, just play with what cards they have available and do the best with what they can. I think it's really interesting because, like if you're more of a, not a full-time player, but a pro player, there are different formats you can play in where, like, oh, we'll play with only, like, crappy cards, or we'll only play with good cards, or you like, create all these rules for yourself. But I think it's really interesting to see actually poor or inexperienced players just doing whatever they can. It reminds me more of, like, when I was younger and you just don't know anything, so you're just playing you're playing any strategy games with people, but you're, like, young and inexperienced, so you don't know anything, and the game is just, like, it's very different. But so that was interesting. It was just nice to, like, be in a different headspace. Have you ever played the Pokemon card game?
Growing up, we played the Pokemon card game, but me and my brothers had a strong belief that the energy cards were stupid, so we just played that they had unlimited attacks on everyone.
See, that's the thing, is if you play, like, I totally get that. And you know what I think that is because Pokemon is actually designed to be more like Magic, so it has that resource system. And I think that was a giant turnoff, because it's not like Yu-Gi-Oh!, which card-wise is very kid-friendly, but, like, Pokemon, it has another layer of, like, resource management. Once you get that, like, the way the game is designed is actually not a bad representation of how the video game works, but yeah, the card game has, like, a learning curve of you have to, like, understand how they kind of undo everything you know about Pokemon, and then you have to, like, learn the new resource system. I do not know how to play Pokemon Go because it was too much of a time investment, so I never got to the point.
Go caused the one time I've ever sworn at work in front of children. It was back at my old job. What?
Explain.
It's back at my old job. It was the summer Pokemon Go was the thing. And I live in the Midwest, so the only things I ever get are Zubats, Sandshrews, or whatever you call them. I don't know, you know, the Pokemans. And they're all like small Pokemans, you know? And so our boss randomly goes, oh, you taking the kids for walks and you're letting them play Pokemon Go with you? That's fun. And I was like, all right, whatever. Like, sure, let me play Pokemon Go with the kids. That's fun. And when we were at a lake, I saw a Tauros. This was the first big Pokemon I saw. So when I see it on my phone, I go, holy shit, a Tauros! And they're like, because at that job, I went by Hawkeye. They didn't know my real name. So at that job, they were like, Hawkeye, you just swore. And I was like, no, I legit didn't think I swore. I legit was like, no, I didn't. What are you talking about? I must have just said, like, oh my gosh, you know, like, what are you talking about? And then the other counselor, so if Iceman says to me, no, Danny, you just swore. No, Hawkeye, you just swore. And I was like, well, kids, even adults mess up sometimes.
Why did you have code names at your old job?
I don't know. It was dumb. I don't really want to. I mean, I'm sure my old job will come up at some point on this podcast again. It was dumb, though.
That's fine.
I don't really want to chase that right now. I'm sure it will come up. What's funny is I never asked Iceman if he named his character off the X-Men character or off Top Gun. Or just off of Ice. Anyway, you ready for a game?
Game time.
Letterboxd, the social media movie site, has something at the bottom of the page of most films, not new films, but like older films, where it says what algorithmically your film is most related to. The Letterboxd game is where I list the first 5 films and give them the mark of a movie I watched in the past week, or since we recorded last, or really just a film I watched recently, let's be real. If he gets it wrong once, he has to guess again. If he gets it wrong twice, I'll give him the year it's from. Gets it wrong 3 times, I'll give him another movie, and I'll keep giving him another movie until he goes, I give up. I always have 10 films that I've watched recently on my list to talk about, and he picks a number 1 through 10, and we do 3 rounds. So, Mark, pick a number. Oh, important rule that Mark always forgets when he guesses, which I'll remind also the listeners, is that I've removed, if this is a franchise film, any film from the franchise is removed from the 5 films, and if it's by the same director, it's removed from the 5 films. So, pick a number 1 through 10.
1.
Your 5 films are A Star is Born 2018, Once, Begin Again, La La Land, Dreamgirls.
Tick, Tick, Boom.
Good guess. Fair guess. That is not, though, in the top 20. I think from now on I'm going to say that if your guess is in the top 20 or not.
I was going to say the one, I mean, that makes me think of the other Irish movie, which it's obviously not because that had the same director as Once. So,
I love Sing Street.
Contemporary movie musicals. They're in English. Les Mis?
Les Mis is in the top 20, but it's not that. All right, the year this came out is 2013.
2013. Oh, man, and it can't be Cats.
I mean, yes, Cats came out in 2019. You're correct. It cannot be Cats.
Well, I'm just doing the thing where I'm like, all right, within my limited criteria, here's me going through every musical I can think of.
Amusingly, and this, I won't count this as a hint, but Cats is in the top 20. I think that's pretty funny. I don't know why. There are a couple movies in this top 20 that I'm very confused by. Although I guess a couple of the weirder ones make sense. Cats goes along with the musical bench you're already on, so I don't think that helps you at all. So.
Yes. 2013. Mamma Mia?
Not Mamma Mia. The next film you get, it's a film I've never heard of, called A Mighty Wind, 2003.
I have heard of that.
Hopefully this isn't my same director.
That's a Christopher Guest movie.
Okay, I did not want... This is not a Christopher Guest movie, so you're okay.
2013. Man. Was The Great Gatsby?
No, that is... You are finally in the right year. 2013 is Great Gatsby, but it's not The Great Gatsby. The next film you get is Walk the Line. So to recap for the listeners at home, the 7 films are A Star is Born 2018, Once, Begin Again, La La Land, Dreamgirls, A Mighty Wind, Walk the Line.
Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story?
Nope. Do you want another film, or do you want to give up?
I'll give up.
Alright, so I want to point out that you forgot one connection with all these musicals. You just said it's a new musical. These are all musicals about musicians struggling to succeed. I watched Inside Llewyn Davis. I know, but I
couldn't think of any of them.
Inside Llewyn Davis.
Oh, well, that's not a musical.
It has music in it. Are you the type of person who thinks Oh Brother, Where Art Thou isn't a musical?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it is. I think Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is a musical.
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is definitely not a musical.
Okay, so if Inside Llewyn Davis is... Okay, hold up. So, you're saying Inside Llewyn Davis is a musical. Okay, that's fine. But if Inside Llewyn Davis is a musical, how is A Star is Born 2018 a musical? How is Once the movie a musical? How is Begin Again a musical? None of those are musicals. Neither is Sing Street, which is not on this list, weirdly.
Well, I'd say Once is definitely a musical.
To be fair, I haven't seen Once. I'm just going off the other John Carney movies I've seen. I know A Star is Born is just as much musical as Inside Llewyn Davis is.
I mean, I think the best argument you have is, why isn't Walk the Line and Llewyn Davis, like, why wouldn't I consider Walk the Line... Well, why would I consider Walk the Line a musical? I think that's a gray area. I definitely think The Llewyn Davis is not a musical, and I definitely think Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is not a musical. Like, it's...
Do you want, out of curiosity, do you want me to check what Oh Brother, Where Art Thou's are, just out of curiosity?
Yeah.
Alright, just so you know, the 2 that I thought that were weird that actually might have helped you a bit on this are Life Aquatic and Magnolia, which are down a bit more. But I think those that would help. I think those 2 kind of get you the personality of Llewyn Davis. I like Inside Llewyn Davis. It's great. All right.
I'm
So
not
you're
saying
fair.
I didn't
You're
like
fair.
it. I just don't think it's a musical.
I'm looking at Oh Brother Where Art Thou. And if we did Oh Brother Where Art Thou during this podcast, the 5 you would have got would have been Grand Budapest Hotel, Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga. I had to look at the whole title. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Sullivan's Travels, and Bill and Ted Face the Music. Those are the Oh Brother Where Art Thou one. With Raising Arizona, Lady Killers, and Inside Llewyn Davis removed.
Yeah, I think Letterboxd agrees with me that Oh Brother Where Art Thou Where Art Thou is not a musical.
Okay, well, Inside Llewyn Davis is here, so deal with it. Give me a number numbers. Like, I'm sorry, it's here. There's nothing I can do about it.
It's an interesting discussion. I just think that, like, there is a spectrum, right? And what is it about Oh Brother Where Art Thou that makes me think it's not a musical, even though there are definitely characters who sing
I think Oh Brother
in it.
Where Art Thou is more a musical than Inside Llewyn Davis, because at least Oh Brother Where, like, Inside Llewyn Davis, the music almost consistently has the same mood, with the exception of Please, Mr. Kennedy. Great Adam Driver, early Adam Driver role, by the way, as Inside Llewyn Davis. Also,
But I don't think it's just
I feel like
about
it's
mood.
still
I
my
think
favorite
it's-
Oscar Isaac performance. Still. All these years later.
Well, it is, like, it's more a vehicle for him than a lot of things have been.
Yeah.
Well,
Alright,
whatever, 8.
8? Alright. What? Oh, please, Mr. Kennedy. Alright. Your 5 films are Napoleon Dynamite, Rushmore, Garden State, The Breakup, The Royal Tenenbaums.
Wow. So all of these movies have the same font for their title, I imagine. So I have to think of something. I see them in my head, except for maybe The Breakup.
I will say, after I give you the 7 films, I will give you, on this one, I might give you some additional hints that have nothing to do with the films here, because I think you might need that push, but I still want you to guess the normal way there.
Yeah. Is it Waking Life?
No.
Easy A?
Never seen Easy A. To be also, Easy A and
You should
Waking
watch
Life are
Easy
not
A.
in the top 20. What?
It's not in the top 20?
Yeah, neither of them are. Your next film you get is... Oh, wait, sorry, you don't get the next film. You get the year. 2007 is the year.
2007. So pre-Iron Man.
Sure.
Yes.
Assume
okay.
it's 2007.
Assume it's 2007, or it actually is?
Letterboxd
I
lists
just have to think of where I
2007.
was in my life. 2007. You know, that's kind of the weird year, because if it's pre-Iron Man, then I was not watching a lot of adult films, except for Revenge of the Sith. So I was not super aware of things like
I don't think
Napoleon Dynamite.
I don't think that you're on the right thought line. I don't think you would have watched this movie in 2007, even if you were watching adult films. Or, films for adults. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, potentially. I don't know. I don't know. Knocked Up?
Nope. Your next film you get is Punch Drunk Love.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
No, and that's also one that's weirdly not in this top 20. All right, your
It
last
has
film
another
you
one
get.
of those font
The last
titles.
film you get as a hint is 500 Days of Summer. So to recap for the listeners at home, your 7 films, if you want to play, if you're playing along with Mark, are Napoleon Dynamite, Rushmore, Garden State, The Breakup, The Royal Tenenbaums, Punch Drunk Love, and 500 Days of Summer.
Scott Pilgrim?
Nope. All right.
I don't know.
So I did say I was going to give you some hints before we just give up on this one.
Okay.
This is one, more than ever, you'll be helped out by knowing what I'm watching. Like, knowing, my patterns of watching movies. I don't think you'll get this one unless you know what I do and how I choose the movies I watch.
Okay.
Does that help you at all? This is also a movie I'm willing to bet it'd be very rare you met someone who had heard of this movie in 2007. It has retroactively become known. And it's not necessarily popular.
Safety Net. Well, no, it's not that. Is that the one thing that Bill Hader and Kristen Wiig made?
No, that's the Skeleton Twins. It's not that.
Mm.
Do you give up?
Yeah, I give up.
So, for my other podcast, Why is with Ty and Dan, we did an episode about the films of Taika Waititi, and since I watched most of them, I decided to wrap up the filmography with Eagle versus Shark.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I definitely would not have got that. I did not even know that thing was, like, known in the world. But there you go.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised it has an algorithm for it, so yeah, I understand that. All right, last number.
6.
Your 5 films are Inception, Vanilla Sky, Mulholland Drive, Donnie Darko, The Science of Sleep.
I was, well, that really harms what I thought I was going to guess. Is it Synecdoche, New York?
No, it's not Synecdoche, New York. That is in the top 20.
Is it Being John Malkovich?
Nope. Your next film is I'm Thinking of Ending Things. Oh, shoot. Well, you'll take that hint for now. The next time I'll give you the year. I always forget I gave you I'll give you the year next time. Sorry about that.
Please give me the year, because I'm thinking of ending things.
Well, then forget I'm thinking of anything. Forget I'm thinking of anything. Forget I said that. Okay? 2001.
Yes, but adaptation? But it's not adaptation.
No. All right, so your hint is I'm Thinking of Anything, because that's I actually give it too early. So you don't get another hint yet. So
yeah, I know, but I'm already on that kick. You know I'm on that train.
It will be really embarrassing if you get this wrong. I'll just say
2001, and it's something like it's some Charlie Kaufman adjacent thing.
I mean, I listed Inception and Mulholland Drive. Are those really Charlie Kaufman adjacent?
Well, like everything else was Charlie Kaufman adjacent. Magnolia?
Nope. So your last film is The Fountain. So to review for the listeners at home, the 7 films you have to pick from a 2001 movie is Inception, Vanilla Sky, which might have pointed out Vanilla Sky is also from 2001. Mulholland Drive, which is also from 2001. Donnie Darko, another 2001 movie. So these hints narrow it down a lot. The Science of Sleep, I'm Thinking of Anything, and The Fountain.
I'm telling you, man, this is why pre-Iron Man matters to me, because pre-Iron Man, I really do not know when things came out. Unless they came out like 1980s or earlier, then I'm actually much better. Attack of the Clones.
Is that really your final guess, is Attack of the Clones?
No, but I can't think of anything.
Okay, it's not Attack of the Clones. Do you want me to just tell you?
Yeah, just tell me.
First off, Attack of the Clones came out in 2002. You fake Star Wars fan.
Oh, no.
Second of all, the reason it's embarrassing you didn't guess this is because you guessed... You guessed this as your first guess on another film we did this time. It's Waking Life.
Oh. Well, whatever. My next guess... I wanted my next clue to be like, do I like this movie? And I don't like Waking Life, so there.
I don't know.
Scanner
if you like
Darkly is a much better movie.
I haven't seen it. Sorry to disappoint.
My game is the game of lists. In the game of lists, I choose some list of movies on the internet, and I give Danny 2 movies off the list, and then he tries to guess which one is ranked higher. So all of these have to be ranked lists. I determined that especially this week because I really wanted to give you the Vatican's list of films, but they don't rank them, so it wouldn't have worked for our game.
It'd just be alphabetical.
Yeah.
I think that one's alphabetically first, so I'll go with that.
It wasn't even like they categorized them, but it wouldn't have even been interesting to be like, what category do you think The Godfather was in? Arts or spirituality? You know? Or like moral values, whatever. So this time, what I did was, it's not exactly a list, but it is compiled like one where I found it. We're gonna do what Rotten Tomatoes thinks of Hayao Miyazaki films.
Go ahead. Get ready.
What is
Get
what is
ready.
that? What is that? You gave such a what kind of response was that?
I was hoping it wasn't Rotten Tomatoes, because remember, I have a very good... It's okay. Just remember for the next episode, don't bring a Rotten Tomatoes one to me. I don't want to know about Rotten Tomatoes. I have such a good knowledge of Rotten Tomatoes, it's not as hard.
Okay.
I watched Goodfellas recently, which is a hint for the future, because the Goodfellas might be a movie I give you.
Oh, okay. I thought you already watched Goodfellas recently.
I watched it again on 35mm, because it was available to me, so I went to go see it in the theater.
I just didn't think you'd watch it again, like, next week, and it would be part of your 10 or whatever.
Last time I watched Goodfellas was like before yesterday. Was like 2 years ago. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
So, first two movies are Ponyo and Porco Rosso.
Porco Rosso. I think since it's older, it's going to be a better reviewed film.
Correct. 95 versus 91.
Because I know
Ponyo
Ponyo comes out after Rotten Tomatoes becomes a thing. You know what I mean? It's going to be harder if, but go on.
Yes.
Go on.
All
Remember,
right.
I have this knowledge.
Maybe
I'm a genius.
maybe this one will mix it up, okay? Howl's Moving Castle and The Secret World of Arrietty.
Okay. So, first off, is this listed on Rotten Tomatoes as Hayao Miyazaki films or Studio Ghibli films?
All right, so it's a little funky because it was he had also lists things he produced on.
Okay.
But you have to choose anyway because I say so.
I have a feeling, and I like giving my justification for these, is that although both of these came out post Rotten Tomatoes, I remember Howl's Moving Castle, the general reaction when it first came out, being mixed-ish. It's still positive, but it's like, this is not Spirited Away, right? It was just after Spirited Away. Whereas Secret World of Arrietty, since it's not a Miyazaki-directed film, had less expectation for it, and as such, probably has a higher grade, even though most people would read How Moving Castle is better, so I'm going to go with Arrietty.
That's crazy how you, figured that out, because you're right. Arrietty was 95. Howl's Moving Castle was 87.
I knew Howl was in the 80, and I was like, I think Arrietty was low 90s. Oh, did you say 95, though?
Yeah.
Oh, that's higher than I thought, though. I thought it was going to be 92. So, big difference in the three, because 92 is a low 90, and 95 is mid 90.
Yeah, and I mean, you probably wouldn't be surprised by this, but this is something that I noticed when I was putting this together. A lot of Isao Takahata films that Miyazaki produced are on there, and they're all 100% or close to there. And maybe it's because lower expectations or less people saw them, so that's why the numbers got pushed higher. So
Probably.
All right, third one is dumb, and you're going to get it, but here it is: Spirited Away and My Neighbor Totoro.
Actually, this is pretty tough, I feel like. But I will go, as always with my Rotten Tomatoes thing, my gut always says go older. Because the older film is going to have less negative reaction. Rotten Tomatoes launched around 1999, 2000, which is still pre-Spirited Away. So I'll go with Totoro.
Wow, the first miss. Spirited Away was 97, and Totoro was 94.
94 for Totoro? That's so low. I've never actually seen Totoro.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassment that I haven't seen it.
You should.
I've seen Spirited Away.
That's probably one of my favorites.
The cool thing to do...
Because it's not a...
Sorry, go on. Sorry.
Well, it's kind of a tangent, so say your thing.
Oh, I was going to just say, if you're in LA, or anyone ever goes to LA, I think it closes in September. The Academy Museum has this awesome Miyazaki exhibit where you aren't allowed to take photos. Because they have a bunch of cells and storyboards, from Japan. They're like, you can have these as long as no one photographs them. And it's so cool to look at everything there.
Is it like looking at paintings?
Yeah, really, it kind of is. And it's actually, one of my favorite things I saw at the Academy Museum, which you can take pictures of, is they have the Studio Ghibli stuff was actually cooler, because I feel like the Studio Ghibli stuff is more like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you have this. Whereas what I'm about to say is yeah, that makes sense. They have the actual storyboards of the opening sequence of Up, that you can just read the entire storyboard there, and it's just it hits you like a brick even just looking at the storyboards. It's I thought the animation part was really cool, because I also have they have Fantastic Mr. Fox there. They have Coraline. They have the actual ones, and they have a bunch of cool cells. I don't know, it's neat.
When did you see that? Was that when you went to LA for the one...
For Turning Red. For Turning Red.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
This past March.
Very cool.
I don't think it was open. I think it opened last October-ish. So it wasn't open when I went to see Luca. So, but it was pretty cool. All right. Let's talk about Knick Knack. We've been talking for a while about other stuff. I don't think we have enough of Knick Knack to talk. I don't think we're going to match what we talked about up to this point with Knick Knack, but that's okay.
That's right. We've been recording for 46 minutes. It doesn't feel like that, though, which is nice.
That's what you said.
I'm sure most of this was me talking about Pokemon.
All right, so Knick Knack. Where do we want to start
that's the one with the snowman.
Yeah. Interesting stuff historically about Knick Knack before we talk about the film is that this was presented in 3D when it was premiered in 1989. So you had to wear 3D glasses while you watched it. That's really the big thing to me. Oh, unless we want to talk about the important thing with Knick Knack that I feel like needs to be acknowledged.
Censorship, you mean?
Censorship, if you want to call it that. If you want to call it, because I do think it is censorship, but I think it's...
You think I'm being serious?
What is it though? Like, what is it called? It's not censorship. It's
It's not retconning. I know what you mean.
It's something. It's burying your dirty history. That's not the right word for it. But that's not a word, but this film was edited when they re-released it in Finding Nemo, and they re-rendered the film to redesign the women in it because the women had very extremely comedically large breasts in the original version of it, and of course they're showing this in front of Finding Nemo. They don't really want that anymore. And Lasseter, I have this quote here from Defending the Changes from 2003, which is, "This wasn't big bad Disney coming in and insisting we do this. It was our own choice. It was just crossing a line for me personally as a father, so I decided to reduce the breast size." Now, I'm glad you thought this was crossing a line, John Lasseter, in 2003. Only you thought about that later on. It's hypocritical coming from Lasseter. If it was coming from someone else, I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever. I wouldn't read too much. Like, Pete Docter saying, I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm not reading too much into it. But, like, Lasseter, I'm like, well, now knowing everything about you, is this, like, whatever. I mean, I do think, I'll be honest, I've watched the original version, and I've watched now the new version for the first time in a while with, on Disney Plus, and I get the original one. I remember, I think I have it on Letterboxd like 2 stars, and I liked it more this time, and I think it's because, to me, I don't know, like, the last time I saw this was like, I think early 2018, and so it was that news was just breaking, so I'm watching this thing where it's like, they have ludicrously large comedic breasts, and the entire thing is about thirsting after them. Like, it makes the film worse, like, you know, the experience worse, because you're like, this is weird, and I don't really, like, feel comfortable watching this. Even if it is cartoon thirsty. You know, you get what I'm saying, right? Especially, like, but okay, Knick Knack, what'd you think of it?
I really liked it. I don't know if I've ever seen the original one, but I just looked this up real quick, and I really liked it. I think that they've cracked a lot of things with this one, and it's kind of interesting how it seems like more derivative in a lot of ways, but it just kind of works. It's like got nice pacing. I think from like the very first moment, as soon as you pan over to him in the snow globe, you immediately get what the conflict is.
Yeah.
Like, after you see all of the, partying beach tchotchkes. I loved it. I think it, like, start to finish, I think it works. It doesn't really have, like, bad moments.
There's one thing about this that I remember when it started, very much this time. I'm like, this looks like such a downgrade from Tin Toy. And this is after Tin Toy. But then we get the moment where we see the snowflakes moving around. I go, oh, okay, this is the massive technological advance here, probably. Like, all those particles floating around, you know? And I go, wow, okay, this is pretty cool. Especially, I think this is, 2 years after Tin Toy? A year after Tin Toy? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think even in terms of, like, lighting effects, which is it's sort of particle physics as well. I think it looks better than Tin Toy immediately. I think Tin Toy has like weird, like it looks very dark compared to this. I think I didn't have that response. Like, I was with it.
I mean, I think the snowman looks fine, but I think the other creatures, the other knickknacks look just very, like, here's a geometric shape. Isn't that cool? And, like, I get that that's, like, what they were trying to do. They're trying to really meld CGI animation with the classic cartoon gag style. And I think they did a good job. It just takes a bit to, get there. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a bit for me to fully get into it. I do think the gags are good. I think this is a very funny short. I like... Sorry, go.
You saying that makes me think about how we've kind of been talking about these shorts in terms of their camera work. And I think this goes back to the, it's 3D, but it's still like shot like a 2D picture. Like it's there's the moment when he's like falling that is a little, it plays with the planes a little bit more, but this is again like very it's a very like two-dimensional short. So it's interesting because I think Tin Toy was much more three-dimensional and it played with space more. So it's neat to see them kind of like swerving back and forth between like, how do we reconcile, you know, not making terrifying 3D objects, but still like we can explore a 3D space, you know? Yeah.
No, I get that. To me, one thing that stands out to me, and it's because also we watched this on Disney Plus, is that it actually has, remember how I said Luxo Jr. and had that intro that's not included on the, that it was on the DVD or VHS that wasn't on the Disney Plus version. This one does have that, and I go, oh, there it is, the little thing they played before the movie. And then it, of course, has the new Pixar logo on it. But my memory with this short, because we always talk about our memories, is I saw Finding Nemo 3 times in theaters in its original run. This was when I was 8. And the last time I went, we saw it at the drive-in with The Wizard of Oz, and Finding Nemo was the second movie. And the reason I remember this short very specifically, this was the first time I was at the drive-in, is, you know, we got our popcorn at intermission, because obviously The Wizard of Oz is first. And then we head back to the car. And then my dad goes... No, I'm like, Dad, turn on the car. We can't hear the movie because we used the radio in the car. And my dad goes, you don't need the audio for this. It's just a short. I remember that very distinctly because I was like, oh yeah, I guess I don't need it because it's just nice music. But I also am like, Dad, now looking back, I'm like, do you really think those 3 minutes are going to save you that much battery? That much car battery? That made the difference.
Your dad was really with the times, saying that, like, everything is primarily visual. You know, only the images should tell the story. It's like your dad's been to film school.
I mean, that is the short. You do only really need the imagery. It's all fun. There's no wacky sound effects other than the wah, 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 wah at the end.
There are sound effects. That's, like, you should read about the dude who did the music for this short. He's, like, incredible. I can't remember his name.
Bobby McFerrin, I have it open.
Yes. I mean, you just, like, dive into his discography and just what he does. He's amazing.
What? He sang Don't Worry, Be Happy. I didn't realize that was his song.
Yes. And this was, like, I guess it's all his a cappella, like, doing everything for the music here.
He did the score for free, because he thought it'd be cool to be involved with this movie.
And he has something that I need to listen to where it's like a jazz album, but it's like all his voice and nothing else. It's something I need to listen to.
This short, we come back to the recurring Pixar trope that always happens, but especially with these shorts, and of course building up the Toy Story, which is that, what do these inanimate objects do when we're not in the room? In this case, it's a guy who collects a lot of annoying knickknacks. But, like, yeah.
Sorry. Well, I think it's just what you say is like characterization. Well, it's more like world building through the knickknacks. You know, we learn about the world because of what is in it, and I think that's very clever.
So,
go on.
No, you talk. No, you talk. My thing's not as interesting. Probably.
I'd guarantee you it will be more interesting than what I have to say, because what I have to say is what I remember now that was like a buried memory is when all of the beach ornaments are looking over the side of the bookcase at the snowman who's just fallen, and everyone is frowning except for the one palm tree who's still just vibing in the background. I definitely remember having a thought about that as a kid because I just had it again watching it now, and it was like deja vu. So that was fun to rediscover that buried
I like the
somewhere inside of me.
blowtorch. The blowtorch is probably my favorite gag. The blowtorch is just in the snow globe. I like, what I was going to say is, the interesting thing about this is that after Tin Toy, Mr. Lasseter was offered a job at Disney, and Lasseter turned it down because the quote on Wikipedia is, I can go to Disney and be a director, or I could stay here and make history at Pixar. And to be honest, let's be real, he's right. Like, if he just went off to direct a 2D animated movie at Disney in the 80s, who would have cared? Like, other than like, oh yeah, that's a good cartoon. Like, maybe he directs like Aladdin, or like a movie like Aladdin, but it wouldn't be like Toy Story, which totally reinvigorates what animated movies are. Like, not being a musical, being, of course, CGI. But I think it's interesting that Disney immediately was like, no, we want this guy back. Because remember, they fired him after he pitched Tin Toy. Not Tin Toy, Brave Little Toaster.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, like, again, this is a lot like Tin Toy to me, where I don't really know what there is to talk about here. Because it's just a really solid, fun short. Actually, honestly, when I watched this, you know what I thought? I had forgotten this was still Lasseter's film. I thought it was, because it was in front of Finding Nemo, I thought it was like, we're showing you Andrew Stanton's first short at the studio. Because it has a lot in common with Somewhere in the Arctic, I feel like. More than any other short film we've watched so far here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it matches with a lot of the things that are in the dentist's office in Finding Nemo. That's always how I thought about it. I always thought this was like something going on in another part of that world when I was a kid and making these, kind of random connections.
The world of Tin Toy, or the world of
No, the world of Finding Nemo.
Oh, like, got you. Yeah,
when they go to the dentist's office and there's all that stuff around, and then it's...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure... Is there a Easter egg? I don't know. I feel like that'd be a good place to put an Easter... I feel like the snowman from Knick Knack should be like a recurring Easter egg. Would make sense,
Yeah. He is... I think he is in Toy Story.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's in one of them. What I was going to say also is I'm looking at the accolades on Wikipedia, and first, Terry Gilliam in 2001 said it was one of the 10 best animated films ever made. But what I think is the more quote that is, do you want to know a good way to get an ego? Is getting a review that says this: John Lasseter is probably the closest thing to God that has ever graced the electronic images community.
Oh, Lamau, I did see that.
It's a lot. That's a lot to take. This is Pixar's, as far as I'm aware, I believe it's their last short for a long while. Like, pure out short film. Because they started doing commercials while they were building up the Toy Story. Looking at Lasseter's career, this is his last short for 17 years until he makes the Mater short that's on the Cars DVD. Until he directs that.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's just done with shorts after this. Also, this was released in theaters with A Nightmare Before Christmas in 3D.
This was with that too?
Yeah, because we remember it was originally made in 3D, and so when they were in 2006, when Disney was like, let's try to bring back 3D with Nightmare Before Christmas and Chicken Little, they were like, let's put this in front of it.
Very unfortunate that we'll probably never talk about Spy Kids 3 on this podcast, but that would be fun to revisit. Yeah,
Unless Robert Rodriguez
I can't believe you proposed the theme for this and it didn't include watching Spy Kids 3.
All right, so we talked about Knick Knack for about 15 minutes.
15 minutes. This
what's your final
podcast
segment?
is more like Danny and Mark talk about like various movie things.
Again, when we get to features, I think we'll be fine when we get to features. It's just, before then, it's like... Yeah. Anyway, so what's your final segment idea?
Oh, I just wanted to give it an arbitrary ranking. It doesn't have to be like a real ranking. It can just be like, I give this one 5 out of 5 snowmen because I would probably watch it again, unlike Tin Toy, which only got 2 out of 5 snowmen.
It gets a 3 out of 5 snowmen. Sorry.
Okay. It also doesn't have to be snowmen.
It gets 3 out of 5
You can evaluate it on your own terms.
Rocks.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What I like to do is, during this, so there's a website I use sometimes to figure out what movies I like, and it's really fun. They have this thing that's listed called matchups, because it's like you rank a movie against each other to figure out where it ranks overall in all the movies you've ever watched. And let's look at the most recent ones Knick Knack has gone against that make the least sense. The recent ones I see are Knick Knack versus Tron Legacy, Knick Knack versus The Lord of the Rings Return of the King, Knick Knack versus The Man with the Golden Gun, and Knick Knack versus Holiday Inn. Do you want to read any of these comments? Are you wondering about what any of these comments say?
I don't know if I understand the premise.
What?
I don't know if I understand the premise yet.
So
it's just
for Knick Knack versus Tron Legacy, the top comment is the matchup that I've always been waiting for. I'm curious what the Lord of the Rings one is.
Yeah, do the Lord of the Rings one.
It says 6 minutes against 201 minutes, LOL. And then someone replied to him a day later that just says, return. Which I presume is picking Return the King.
So what's our next thing? We're so close to Toy Story, but it's not that yet.
We're almost there. But we gotta dig a little deeper, find out who we are. Boom, boom. Alright, we're gonna do something I think in our first episode I said we weren't gonna do. But I found them, so we are gonna do them. Which is that we are now in the era where Pixar keeps making these films that are bad. And by bad, I mean commercials. However, they also had a deal with Sesame Street to make I think 4 shorts about Lexa Jr. visiting Sesame Street and learning stuff. So we're going to watch a bit of Sesame Street next week. And this will be our last one until the big one.
The big one.
Do you know what I'm referencing with the big one?
Toy Story?
Yeah, the rocket. I just saw the rocket. Rockets explode!
Looking for the Ocean, a Pixar podcast, is produced by Mark Young and Danny Vincent. I do the editing, and our artwork is done by Sarah Knopf.
Yeah, and you can find us at Facebook at Looking for the Ocean, a Pixar Journey. You can find us on Twitter at Pixar Journey, and on Instagram at Looking for the Ocean Pod. You can also email us at lookingfortheoceanpixar@gmail.com.
If you want to know what I'm up to, everything is available on my website, markyoungperformer.com.
You can listen to my other 2 podcasts, Wise with Ty and Dan and The Snub Club, wherever you can find your podcasts. You can also find me on Letterboxd at Blankmints for all my takes on all of the movies. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.